Hello, hello, my crafty friends. It's Kelly's Crafts here, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based out of the San Francisco Bay Area, and I am here to give you your February tip of the month. And this month, what I'm going to show you is how you can give dimension to a focal point on your card. And I'm not just talking about your generic dimensionals. That does give a little bit of dimension, but we really want to have something pop off the page. For example, I've got this one here. It's got a nice little focal image right here, and it really pops off the page because you can see, let me see if I can get this in the camera real good. Right there. There's a little mechanism in there. And that mechanism is going to really pop it off the page so that you can really have some really good depth on that. So that's going to be a little thicker than a dimensional, but at least this is going to flatten out when it goes in the mail if you wanted to do something like that. So let me show you how I did that. So we're going to be using a little bit of calculations today. And I'll go over them a few times because it is going to seem a little confusing. So for this example today, I'm going to try, and let's just say I'm making a mechanism for this. So I've measured this and I'm like, okay, I really only have enough room to do, maybe an inch across and about an inch and 3/4 this way. So I wrote that down, 1 inch by 1 3/4 of an inch wide. Now the next thing we want to figure out is what is a half of this width, a 1 3/4 inch. So I wrote on here that happens to be 7/8 of an inch. And that comes into play because, let me just show you. So basically our mechanism is going to look like this. So if you look in there, you've got your front, your back, your sides are going to be these little guys, and they're going to squish for when you mail it. And these little pleats, I'm calling them, are 1/4 of an inch on each side. So they're 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. Those pleats are 1/4 of an inch. I would not go any more than 1/4 of an inch on these pleats unless you were doing a craft. If you were doing some sort of a craft where you really wanted to lift it off the page, go ahead, give it more than 1/4 of an inch. But if you're going to be doing this for a card, this is really as much as I think that you should do for a little pop-up on a card. So the way we're going to do that is, let me move this out of the way. I'm going to bring in my trusty scoreboard here. And where is it? Oh, here it is. So I have my take your pick tool, and one of the other attachments that you get with it is a sort of a two-ended stylus. One is fatter, one is thinner. I prefer the thinner one. If you have a really heavy hand, you might want to look at perhaps getting the using the fat one, but I particularly like this one. And so I buried my measurements. So for my measurements, we figured, okay, so this is where your half comes in. The first thing you want to do is start off with your half. So that's going to be your, 7/8 of an inch. So you have 7/8. You're going to do 1/4 and 1/4. And what I like to do is flip it over, do another 7/8 of an inch, 1/4 and 1/4. And what that's going to do is that's going to leave you your 1 inch across here. There's your pleats, your 1/4 inch here, 1/4 inch there. And then these two pieces are half of this. So that's going to be the same distance, but it's going to be on the back side. So this is going to be your half pieces, and this is going to be your full size. So this is what I would do, and then I would just do this. This is going to be, you're going to fold this one this way, and then you'll take that next pleat and go this way, and then fold it again across this way, And now you have sort of an M. And do this on the same side. We're going to fold this one back, forward, back. And so again, you have your mechanism that's going to fit very nicely on the back of this for dimension. Okay, so let me show you our first project that we're going to be working with today. I am going to be working with this little set here. And this is a set from the, what is it, Bugs? I would say it's Cute as a Bug. Had to go look. Cute as a Bug set. I just think it's adorable. So I picked out these little guys. I got it from, this is all from the DSP. I just cut all this stuff out of the DSP. If you don't have too much of a hassle, you don't need to deal with ink and stamps and all that kind of stuff. You can just cut these little guys out. So we're going to be putting these guys up. But these are really, really tiny, tiny little critters. So I don't have a whole lot of room on the back here. I have about 1/4 of an inch to be able to work with this way, 3/4 of an inch to work with this way. So we're going to be working with really tiny pieces. So that's why I wanted to make a big one for you so you can kind of see what it is that we're doing. So bring out my scoreboard again. And take this guy. I'm going to put this up here. And I already know that that we're going to start, it's going to be 3/4 of an inch wide. And so I really am only going to want 3/8 of an inch. And that's right. It's kind of hard to hold and do this at the same time. It's so tiny. So there's 3/8 of an inch. And then we want to do 1/4, 1/4, and then I'm going to turn it around, do the same thing, get it up in there, 3/8 of an inch, 1/4, and 1/4, and there you have it. Can you see that? Pretty tiny. And through the magic of television, I already have a second one ready to go right here. So let's move this out of the way again. And so let me just bend these guys. And so again, you're going to have bend this way, bend it that way, bend it that way. Now you've got your M. We're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to bend it, bend it, bend it, and now you've got an M on that side. So that's going to be our itsy bitsy little mechanism for our little ladybug. So let me just start by adhering her down. I'm going to get out my silicone mat because this is really tiny and there's a good chance that I'm going to get some adhesive somewhere, and so I don't want to make a mess. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and fold it so that I'm going to open it up however I can get it so that it is flat and these two meet. And all I want to do is put a little bit of glue on both of these 3/8 of an inch panel. So I'm just going to put tiny bit. And then I'm going to put that right about there. I'm going to give that a second to adhere, then we're going to take our second one. We're going to fold it, fold it, fold it. We'll do the same thing on this side. Fold it, fold it, fold it. There we have our two M's. I'm going to fold this flat. However I can do it to get these two to meet together. There we go. And then I'm going to take a speck of glue, a speck of glue, and put it on my little bumblebee. Just like that. Give that a second. Let's bring this one up. I can open up that mechanism again. I can put my pleats back into it. And there we have your little pleats. So he's going to jump nicely off of the page. And we'll give that a few more seconds. And in the meantime, I'm going to start putting my card together. So I have this piece here is going to be my my layer piece. It's going to be my little base piece. And I want to adhere this to my layer piece. And since all of this gray, most of it is not going to be showing except for this little trim, I went ahead and I die cut out of it my thinks, which is what I want to use on the front of the card, because why not, right? Why use another piece of, another piece of cardstock if you can just utilize the one that you're going to be covering up. So I'm going to throw a little bit of adhesive on the back of that. I'm going to put this on here, about 1/8 of an inch of border. And now I can take this one, I can put the little pleats back in. There we go. I have my pleats. I have my little bumblebee. And what I want to do is I want to put my little ladybug sitting on the rock. So I'm going to do that. Put some adhesive on there. I'm going to sit it right about there. Give that a few minutes to adhere. With my bumblebee, I'm going to have this little guy up in the air. So let's give this one some adhesive. And I'm going to want that right about there. Now, while that's adhering, I'm done with this for now. And what I want to do is do a little bit of stamping here. I want to put a little bit of something in the background because I feel like, I don't know, this card front is a little plain. I just want a little hint of something there. And so I am going to do a little bit of stamping. I don't want a whole lot of color showing. I just want it to be very subtle. So I'm going to be using Versamark today. So I'm going to take these. This is just some little spots. Some little spots. I'm going to dip it in my Versamark. And I'm going to just throw some sporadically here and there. You may not see very much right here, but it will eventually sink in, and you'll see just a little bit of dimension. I'm going to put some scrap paper so that I can go off the edge here. Same thing at the top. We're going to go off the edge this way, kind of across the corner, and just a little bit right here, because then I want to do this one here. This one is going to be a pretty good size one, but you're not going to really be seeing much of it. And I kind of want this to be poking out from below here. So I'm going to say right about here. So I'm going to put that little stamp right there. You can really hardly see that. But I want to show you, this is the stamp set that it's from. Nope, I don't have it in front of me right now. All right, let me cover this back up. I like to keep it covered because it is sticky and we don't want anything in it. And I keep it upside down. That keeps the ink always at the bottom, which is nicely at the top when I go to use it next time. So I always store this upside down. All right, now I'm going to take my little something on there, make a little card front here, put some adhesive. Now I could put some dimensionals on this if I wanted to, because that would look really nice if you could give this a little bit of dimension like so. But since I already have quite a bit of dimension just from our little mechanisms here, I'm just going to leave it right here, right about so. There we go. And then where's my thanks? I lost my thanks. Can I drop it on the floor? Oh, come on. Where did my thanks go? I hope it wasn't on the back of that. Well, I don't know what happened to thanks. I don't see it on my floor, and it's not stuck to the front of me. All right, well, you know what? At least you got to see what it looked like before I lost it. Darn it. Huh. All right, well, so much for live television, right? So much for live television, right? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fold this card, give it a nice score, and there you have it. Isn't that cute? Eventually it's going to say thanks down here, and then there's your little mechanisms. Make them pop, and then when you put them into the card, into the envelope, they flatten very nicely, but they really are jumping off the page. So I wanted to show you that. And then one more example. I'm going to be doing a card with some balloons, and I'm going to be doing the same thing with this one. We are going to be scoring I already know that this is going to be a 1 by 3.5. You've got 1 this way, 3.5 this way. And so I'm going to start off with 5/8. I know that my next 2 are going to be 1/4 inches apart. 5/8, 1/4, and 1/4. There we go. I'm going to fold it back, fold it back again. There's my W. Fold it back, fold it again, and there's my mechanism. So that's going to be for my big balloon. That's going to go with this guy. I might as well glue it on there now. Let me flatten it out like so. And we're going to give some on this panel, some on that panel. And then I'm going to put it right here. And while that one dries, I have this shimmer paper that I want to die cut Hooray out of. So let me get my trusty die cut machine here. This is my mini cut and emboss machine. I'm going to put my die in there so that this is the cutting side. This is the flat side. So I want the cutting side down. I'm going to put that right here on my specialty paper. I'm going to put my number 2 glass over the top. I always do number 2 shorter than the base and the number 1. It just helps it get started easier. So I'm going to go ahead and get it started. I'm going to roll it through. Take off the top. There's my die. There's my scrap. And here's my Hooray. I need this guy. Because I have so many score marks in my plate here, it does tend to stick in there in those little grooves. So there's that. Now I have my Hooray. And I need to push this little piece out to reveal the opening of my Y. There we go. All right, so this is how I want to put together my card. What I'm thinking about doing is have a couple balloons, another balloon. Then I want to have my biggest balloon because that shows that it's in the front, about there. And then the little tassel. But I have to make sure that it doesn't stick off of the page. So I'm going to put a smidge of glue, and I'm going to glue it right there. I'm going to put this on my silicone mat, and I'm going to let it rest there a little bit while it adheres, while I get these guys down. So I'm going to have this guy. I already have them stuck together, just for the sake of the video today. I'm going to go a little bit towards the top because I want to have enough room at the bottom for my thanks. Then we'll take this one. And this one I want, I don't know, know. Let's see. How about here? And just to make it easier on myself, I'm going to put this down next. So this is really, really tiny. And I'm going to get my my glue going. I'm going to stick some right there. And I'm going to move it around a little bit, thin it out. Then I'm going to take and touch my letters to it. Get the middle, get my Y, and then I'm going to put it right there. Cute. All right. Now with this guy, oh, he's going to be over my hooray. Darn it. I don't know. Maybe I might have to put it this way. I did not plan ahead very well on that one. I wonder if I can move this. Yes, I can. I will likely take that off and glue it again so that it really sticks really well. Now I'm okay with it. Maybe even a little bit more. Then I'm going to put some glue on my mechanism. I'll put that right about there. I'm going to let that dry. I'm likely going to take and add another matte piece to it so that I like to add a matte behind it to give it a little bit of a border, kind of like you can see here. And then put it on a card base, and that card is done. I should probably have done some little doodads around here as well. I might still do that. But anyways, there you go. Here you have dimension, some critters that are jumping off of the page nicely, and they're all going to fit very nicely into an envelope. This one will probably fold that way. There you go. Now I just need to find my thanks, and I'll be in business. Okay, guys. Thanks so much for sticking with me today and watching my February tip of the month on how to give more dimension to a focal image rather than just dimensionals. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, I would love a thumbs up on this video. And if you have any other ideas of ways that you use to give some good dimension to your focal pop-ups, leave it in the comments. I'd like to hear what those are. And while you're there, go ahead and click the bell so that you know the next time I upload a new YouTube video. Okay, guys, thanks so much for your time. Gotta go. We will talk to you next month for the March tip of the month. Alrighty? Bye-bye, everybody.